AwesomenessTV Girls. That is the name that I am giving this group because they don't actually have a group name, but I needed to say something for the intro. We're talking about JennXPenn, Andrea Russett, Arden Rose, and Lauren Elizabeth. The friend group turned roommates that reached its peak in 2014 and 2015 from filming collabs together on their individual YouTube channels and via the entertainment company AwesomenessTV. Jenn and Andrea started on YouTube with lifestyle talking videos, skits, and challenges, while Arden and Lauren started with more beauty and fashion related content. Eventually, the girls would all do some amount of challenges, story times, and skits, just a little bit of everything with lighthearted energy and humor. The vibe was that you're there because you like their personality and energy, not really for one specific type of content. After about a year of all living together, the group ends up separating and the collabs become fewer and farther between. So we'll be getting into what happened, what's been speculated, what's been said and alluded to by different members, and where they are now. So let's get into it. We can't talk about Jenn, Andrea, Arden, and Lauren without talking about AwesomenessTV. Back in 2012, AwesomenessTV was formed as some digital media and entertainment company that was targeted towards teenagers and young adults. They would do a lot of sketch comedies and reality series and collaborate with rising YouTube stars. Eventually, what started as just a YouTube channel turned into a TV show on Nickelodeon and then turned into a general media company that produced films, still aimed at a young adult audience. They're currently owned by Paramount Global and recently helped produce XO Kitty, so I'd say they're still pretty relevant. All four girlies worked for and with AwesomenessTV during its early years, and some of them continued well into the later 2010s. They would appear in skits, interviews, talking videos, and even have their own series in addition to running their own YouTube channels. Which brings us to the AwesomenessTV series, The Jenn and Andrea Show, which followed Jenn and Andrea through moving in together, random side quests like cooking, playing Twister, trying to touch the Hollywood sign, ghost hunting, and more. The show premiered in January 2014 and went on until June 2014, so it was a short but very eventful 6 months. They did know each other before the series started and had lived together for a couple of months already, and had already posted collabs together on their personal channels. They had met the year prior at Playlist Live, and their energy and dynamic together as friends was really entertaining to watch, both of them being very funny and pretty outgoing. Most of their videos were pretty short, like I'm pretty sure almost all of them are under 10 minutes long, but there would be so many comments asking for more videos and for them to be longer. And watching these videos back was so interesting because not really much happens, but you still enjoy watching it. Like they have a video where they set up a lemonade stand and make some lemonade and nobody comes. They just sit there and drink lemonade and banter back and forth a little bit. And at the end of the video, Lauren comes by to buy some, and the joke is that they had drank all their lemonade waiting around for customers, so they had nothing to sell. It's so funny because this type of video would never fly now in 2025, but it was everything back in 2014. In March, all four girls collab by each posting a prank video on their personal YouTube channels. I believe this is the first time that all four of them are featured in videos together. Looking at their outfits and their hairstyles, it is screaming 2014. Andrea with her same smoky eye makeup in every video was a moment. I have truly traveled back in time, and look at that iPhone. The nostalgia is hitting. In April, Arden makes an appearance on the Jenn and Andrea Show for an Iron Chef cooking video. Jenn and Andrea compete for who can make the better sandwich, and they have Arden judge. Then in May, Jenn and Andrea do the best friend tag on AwesomenessTV to test who knows the other one better, and thus being the better best friend, which Andrea ends up winning. They could have just been doing this because the network has been marketing them as best friends for views and to appease the audience and like hype up the series that they had, but it's also totally believable that they're best friends, or at least very close friends at this point, by seeing how they are in videos, that they work together so often, and the fact that they're real life roommates. In June, we get Lauren and Andrea collabing on Lauren's channel with a video on how to take a perfect selfie, which is also so 2014. Like these videos are too on point when it comes to describing exactly what was trendy in this time period. Then we get to the end of the Jenn and Andrea Show. The end of the series is marked with a egg roulette video on AwesomenessTV, where all four girls announce that they're going to be moving in together and doing this egg roulette to determine who gets the better rooms. Basically, they hit themselves and each other with eggs, and some are hard-boiled and some are raw. Can you guys imagine doing this in 2025? That would blow whatever budget they had for filming that video. Then for the rest of the month of June, we get a ton of content from the four housemates. They do challenge videos together on each of their individual channels: the Whisper Challenge, Bean Boozle Challenge, where you eat the gross jelly beans, and a Shock Ball Challenge. But as the months go by, people start start to notice that there's not really collabs between the four girls anymore, and there's a split in the group that people were not expecting. So originally around the end of 2013 and beginning of 2014, we were getting all of this content around Jenn and Andrea being best friends and their shared series with them being the original two roommates. And we had also seen Arden and Lauren often collaborating on AwesomenessTV skits and different series. But once everyone's moved in together in June 2014, there's a shift to us seeing a lot of Jenn and Lauren collaborations and Arden and Andrea collaborations. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but we never get another collab on their personal channels of just Jenn and Andrea ever again after their series ended. That summer in July, we get Jenn and Lauren collabing together about things you can do when you move out. And in August, we get Arden and Andrea collabing doing a haul of makeup products they bought when shopping together, and another video teaching Andrea how to apply falsies. During all of this, the four girls are still working with AwesomenessTV. In September, we get an epic slumber party video with Andrea, Arden, and Lauren alongside fellow YouTuber Megan Rinks. October comes and Arden and Andrea collab again, trying Japanese snacks and doing a gummy worm challenge. Meanwhile, Lauren and Jenn are also collabing, doing videos called Nobody Has Time for Breakfast on each of their channels. In the videos, Lauren says that they hang out a lot as housemates and watch a lot of movies and shows together, like breakfast food videos, hence why they're making this type of video showcasing easy breakfast ideas. So at first, it just starts with them saying that they hang out a lot, but then it turns into them calling each other best friends. So by February 2015, Lauren and Jenn are posting best friend challenges and later best friend versus mom videos on their channels with each other. Viewers in the comment section pointed out how Jenn and Andrea used to be the best friends and Lauren and Arden seemed to be closer, but now things have flipped. Some people also speculated that this new best friendship between Jenn and Lauren might just be to promote their upcoming movie together called Bad Night. Bad Night was a movie that Lauren and Jenn starred in together where they played two best friends who get mistaken for famous art thieves during a school field trip. It's like a comedic wild night out gone wrong type of movie, which, hey, a fabricated friendship to promote a movie is totally a smart move and marketing strategy, but it's also possible that they naturally just became closer as two girls around the same age that were working and living together. That May, Arden and Lauren actually do collab videos on each of their channels about things you need for music festivals and music festivals do's and don'ts. So it doesn't really seem like these two have an issue together, just maybe that they're not that close. This is around the same time that they have a series coming out on AwesomenessTV called Life's So Rad, where they try out new activities together like archery, yoga paddleboarding, and more. The series had already existed, but they would have two different hosts for each season, and for seasons 3 and 4, it was Lauren and Arden. But again, still no collabs between Jenn and Andrea. That June, we get more collabs between Arden and Andrea, where they cooked in an easy bake oven and built things with Legos. So now we're in June 2015. It's been a year since they announced that they were all moving in together. So right around the time where you would expect a lease would be up, Andrea posts a video on her channel titled Why I Moved, where she reveals her one big reason why she moved. And it essentially ends up all being clickbait because she says it's so she can dance around in her onesie whenever she wants to. It was just a troll video. She knew that people were going to speculate and wonder why she wasn't going to be living with the other girls anymore. The next month, she posts a video called Meet My Roommate ? Where the joke is that she has no roommate, she's now living alone. She talks about the pros of living alone, like getting to take good selfies with no judgment, and again, getting to walk around in her onesie with no judgment, and it's this constant party. I know the vibe is supposed to be carefree and fun, but honestly, when watching it, I sense a little bit of resentment and some undertone of bitterness. It's like she says she doesn't want people to make a big deal about it, but when she's dancing around the topic and making it a joke, it feels like there are things that are being left unsaid. In July, we also get a video from Arden titled Meet My New Best Friends, which was sponsored by AT&T Summer Break. In the video, she says that she's had trouble making friends and she introduces two girls from season 3 as her new best friends. Now, I'm sure this was not intentional, but people left comments saying that the two girls looked like Jenn and Lauren because of their hair colors, and people said that the video concept was shots fired against Jenn and Lauren for allegedly leaving Arden out. Look, I don't know if this video was meant to shade Jenn and Lauren, but I feel like Arden probably knew that people might think that and it would farm some engagement with the video. I don't know if Arden and Lauren weren't on good terms at the time because they were still working together on AwesomenessTV videos. Like just that next month in August, they have a beach workout video together in a continuation of their Life's So Rad season. To be fair, I don't know when exactly these episodes were filmed, and of course there could be things going on behind the scenes, but just putting it out there. As 2015 continues on, we don't really see Andrea and Arden collabing much anymore, but we do get more Jenn and Lauren content. In September, Lauren films an apartment tour on her channel and reveals that she and Jenn still live together. People in the comments start pointing out how this feels like something happened between the four of them since Andrea moved out to be alone. Lauren and Jenn stayed together, seemingly making Arden have to move out separately as well. Now, normally I would say that just because four friends are living together and then they move out and some of them stay living together doesn't mean that there's automatically been some drama, but we do eventually get some confirmation that there were some things happening behind the scenes later, so people's hunches here were valid. So by the end of 2015, Jenn and Andrea don't appear to be friends anymore. Lauren and Arden seem like work level type of friends, and Jenn and Lauren seem like best friends, but they also do end up drifting as time goes by into 2016. So what happened? There were some rumors that the reason that Jenn and Andrea stopped being best friends was because Jenn slept with Andrea's ex. Okay, so first, let's go over the ex in question. Andrea had previously dated Kian Lawley, who was a member of O2L, which is another group that I've been seeing many requests for coverage on that I have on my list coming up next. Shameless plug for a future video. Andrea and Kian's relationship was pretty public and a lot of people were big supporters of them, but they did end up breaking up after around a year of dating. They also have a super viral video of them kissing after they had already broken up that got 18 million views. Anyways, the rumors came from the fact that they had broken up around the start of the O2L tour in 2014, which started around the end of May and early June, which is around the same time period that Andrea, Jenn, Arden, and Lauren were moving in together, and how people started to notice that Andrea and Jenn were never the same. On top of that, there was a question on Tumblr directed to Andrea that said, would you be able to forgive your best friend for sleeping with your ex-boyfriend? And Andrea responded with nope. And in a now deleted tweet on Andrea's second Twitter account, she had said, when your ex F's your ex-best friend, lol, relatable. She did delete the tweet, so maybe that was signaling that it wasn't what everyone was thinking. And apparently during this time where the rumor was running wild, Jenn had said in some interview that nothing is true unless I say it. I personally think that this rumor is a big reach. I saw online some people were saying there were additional shady tweets being posted back and forth from Jenn and Andrea during this time, but from my looking, I did not find these tweets. I don't hold such evidence. I'm sure something did happen between Jenn and Andrea, but I don't have any reason to believe it was related to her breakup. Also, we do get a moment during VidCon 2016 where Jenn and Andrea seemingly had made amends. They posted dancing together on Snapchat and they posted photos together on Instagram and Twitter that people went wild over, hoping that this was some sign of future Jenn and Andrea collabs again, but we don't get any. In 2017, Andrea posted a Q&A where she says that she and Jenn are no longer close friends, they don't hang out, but there's zero hard feelings. They're cordial when they meet in public, but they're not in regular contact. She said that she wouldn't share details because she wants to avoid compromising anyone else's privacy, which suggests that something else really may have gone down, but she just doesn't want it to be public. But I do feel like if the rumor about the sleeping with the ex was true, then she would not have a zero hard feelings attitude about it. I mean, I wouldn't. Would you? Like, to me, this confirms the rumor is really just a rumor. Now, in the last 5 years, we've gotten some additional context from Lauren and Andrea separately. In a 2021 Get Ready With Me on Lauren's channel, she answers some popular questions that she's avoided. She says that she's still friends with Jenn, literally talked to her yesterday, has nothing but love and support for her, but just that their lives had grown apart and they're in different phases. When they moved out of the same place, they just grew apart naturally, but there's no bad blood. They're on different schedules, but they still keep in touch. She also addresses the larger housemate situation with Jenn, Andrea, and Arden, saying that when they lived together, they were all really young in their college years. She'll never hold something against someone for something they did when they were kids. They were very immature back then, moving to LA for the first time. She has no bad blood for anyone, and she even admits that at 19, she was not perfect at all and was kind of a crappy person. And she says, quote, I still keep in touch with Arden and Jenn, and that's about it. Then in 2022, she makes a TikTok responding to a comment that is asking for the tea of what happened between the four of them. In the TikTok, she essentially says the same things that she said in her YouTube video. She gives a bit more context, saying that they were young, dumb, and having a lot of fun, but also having to figure out what their careers were, since back then, influencers, brand deals, and being a YouTuber were not really seen as real or stable jobs. Some tea is she admits that they were not always sober in their videos. And then interestingly, she says, I don't really remember what our falling out was. I'm sure that they do, but I'm still pretty much friendly with 2/3 of them. Obviously, Obviously, those 2/3 is Jenn and Arden from what she had said in her previous video. Andrea actually commented on the TikTok saying absolute chaos, and Arden commented saying, also, we started the industry conversations about getting paid for internet content. That was our road we paved. Jenn did not comment, but she's not really active on TikTok at all. It's kind of interesting that she says that she doesn't remember what happened to cause the fallout, but she's sure that they do. And in her YouTube video, she admitted to kind of being a crappy person. It feels like she's kind of admitting fault on her end, but also downplaying it. Not to say that what she said wasn't valid, because it is true that they were in a very unique and wild time in their personal lives, and also being the first YouTubers and influencers before influencer was even a thing. But when it comes to interpersonal conflict, I do feel like something did happen, and I think that the problems either came from Lauren or Andrea. Before we get into what Andrea has said about the four of them splitting up, there was some minor drama in 2023 when Tana Mojo went on a podcast with Trisha Paytas and said that Andrea was a mean girl and bullied her when she was on Escape the Night back in 2017. If you don't remember or you don't know, Escape the Night was a reality TV series hosted by Joey Graceffa. It had a murder mystery theme and it featured a lot of YouTubers. Some people commented on this saying that it was all adding up and that Andrea always seemed like a mean girl to them, but others criticized Tana for always starting drama and not being able to answer what exactly Andrea even did to bully her. Since Trisha asked her what exactly happened and Tana responded that she didn't really remember, it's just messy and so unnecessary. But then Andrea responded in a TikTok laughing at the fact that Tana said she was a mean girl, saying that it was so outlandish and ridiculous. She says if that was Tana's experience, then she's sorry. She accepts that it might have been Tana's experience, but says that it was never her intention and feels in her heart that it really wasn't reality. And then goes on to say that what really annoyed her is the part in the podcast where Tana mentions how Andrea is doing content around her sobriety journey and how she really respects it. Andrea calls out Tana for saying that, but also being the one to have made podcast episodes with Hunter Moreno, one of Andrea's exes, making fun of Andrea as a drunk, sloppy mess when they knew that that was around the time that Andrea had started to try to get sober. I think two things could be true at once. Andrea could have been mean to Tana during Escape the Night, and Tana could have been mean to Andrea by commenting on Andrea's behavior when drunk and trying to get sober. Not saying that one girl is right and one girl is wrong, or one girl is mean and one girl isn't. It was just some snarky drama. Then in 2024, Andrea goes on a podcast where she addresses the drama between the four girlies and says that there was a different mean girl. She addresses why she moved out of the house, saying that we all wanted different things for our careers and we're just moving in different directions, and then says that she thinks she's allowed to say that there was one mean girl in the house that made it difficult, and so we all just parted ways. And when she first moved out, it was weird and they wondered, are we all good? But she and Arden always stayed close, and now she and Jenn still check in every once in a while. She says that she loves them, throws out the words girlhood and girl's girl. So clearly from her omitting Lauren in that, she's saying that Lauren was the mean girl. And the podcast host was liking all of the comments on the video about Lauren being the mean girl. So honestly, it's pretty messy, but also kind of funny. It is clear who is beefing with who, and it's kind of interesting that Jenn and Arden are on good terms with both of the girls. So the main conflict had to be between Lauren and Andrea. Obviously, both of them are going to insinuate that the other girlie was the mean one, but I will say that Lauren admitting that she was kind of a crappy person at 19 could be her admitting fault to whatever went down. And the fact that Lauren said that she doesn't remember exactly what went down, but others probably do, I can just totally see Andrea remembering exactly what happened. I get the vibe that if you do Andrea wrong, she'll never forget it, and not saying that like it's a bad thing, because honestly same. So Lauren and Andrea may have had some conflict in the house that also caused a divide with the other relationships. At the time, Lauren and Jenn were working closely together for their movie, so it makes sense that it could have put her more on Lauren's side of things, which then would have made Jenn and Andrea pull away. With Arden more maybe in between, since she was still working with Lauren on AwesomenessTV series, so she stays cordial with Lauren and their work friendship, but also is kind of there more for Andrea on a friendship level, hence their personal channel collabs. And Andrea says that she always stayed in touch with Arden, so I think that their less collabs together just came from them moving away. And Lauren already confirmed that she and Jenn kind of drifted after they moved apart, but I also think that maybe them not working closely together on their movie had something to do with it as well. Now that time has passed, no one is harboring bad blood over it. Some people are just not compatible as friends, especially as roommates. I know there are so many cases where you like someone as a friend, but they would just drive you crazy if you had to live with them. Not everyone is going to be compatible in every way. Maybe Lauren was a mean girl back then when they all lived together and it caused some drama, but that doesn't mean she's a mean girl now. So what is going on with them now? Jenn is still active on social media, but mostly just streams on Twitch now, focusing on gaming and lifestyle topics. She hasn't posted on her main YouTube channel for the last 3 years, but posts often on her second channel that pretty much turned into her gaming channel. Andrea, in the last few years, has released music and shared content around her journey getting sober with its highs and lows. She's not super active on YouTube anymore, but when she does post, it's usually vlogs or talking style videos. She had a hiatus for around 6 months, but came back last January. She also has an Etsy store where she sells cute beanies that she makes herself. Arden is not as active on YouTube as she was before, but she still posts occasional vlogs. She also showcases her art actively on Instagram and TikTok. In 2017, she published a book called Almost Adulting. She's married and she lives in London now. Lauren still posts lifestyle content on YouTube. She also had a podcast, but from what I've seen, it's been inactive for a couple of years now. She's also now a mother and is engaged. And everyone is just living their life. And with that, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. O2L video is coming up next. Please like and subscribe to support the channel. Comment any requests you have for future video topics, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!